Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is the week in review. Oh yeah, ease that seat back as we canvass the whole week in the world of wrestling. Now, you might be wondering, John, why are you doing such a sensual intro right now? Why are you caressing my eardrum so tenderly like this? And it's because, well, you deserve a little something for what I thought personally was kind of a meh week in the world of wrestling. I mean, SmackDown was okay. The Usos had a solid promo, but it's nowhere near their best stuff. We know what an S tier Usos promo looks and sounds like. Ronda continues to dominate, and we shouldn't feed it, because she's inadequate. And other things happen too. The show existed, it happened. You know what else I could say that about? AEW. AEW, given that Forbidden Door is tomorrow night. Now, granted, we just had Collision. I didn't watch it. Ashton's kind of our Collision correspondent. Ooh, the alliteration. And so that might have compensated, might have padded it out a little. But AEW itself, in the clips that I did watch, in my attempts to be a responsible commentator, just seemed like, what's the difference between this and Rampage? You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Rampage, it got a little elite, Johnny Elite, although now apparently he's like Johnny TV or something. I worry about him, to be honest. That's a lot of identities for one man to have. I really hope he never dissociates. That could get messy. But, yeah, that kind of existed. And then, Raw kind of working backwards, that happened. Logan Paul's in Money in the Bank, and as he scaled up the ladder, my interest seemingly nosedived. It's kind of funny, the correlates there of all of that. And yeah, I'm just like, not the worst week I've ever seen. There have definitely been worse. Honestly, the highlight might have been NXT, and I haven't even seen anything beyond that, beyond Ali in a referee shirt. And can I just say, on behalf of the entire human race, nice. So that's essentially how I feel about the week. Now I'm going to hand it over to my cohort here very tenderly. Are you comfortable, bud? Did we make you nice and comfortable? How did you feel about this week in the world of wrestling?
I'm not gonna lie, man. You popped me with the use of the word correlates again.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So how did you feel, man? Let's talk about it.
Oh, man, it was a decent week. It was an alright week. It was okay. It was I hate to keep using the term mid because I feel like MJF coined it even though he didn't, but it just feels like he did because he overused it that one time in that one promo. But man, it's I just feel like Stardom is giving us all we need, and everything else can just suck it.
I mean, I agree. And can I just say, while I'm really digging the vibes right now, that your face is excellent and the complete opposite of the energy that we were treated to this week. So I
Nice.
just wanted to spread that love around. Um,
Oh, Alex Foster in chat said NXT being the highlight. Yay!
yeah, I gotta tell you, bro, again, I wasn't that dialed into NXT, but I did like it this week. And again, like really what I saw, just to keep it 100, was Ali. I don't even know if he's meant to be a heel or if he's just meant to be a chaotic agent in the North American title picture. But whatever he is, he's doing it well. And I mean, look, he's fine AF. We can all say it. I mean, God, with how I've thirsted over Santos on this podcast, what's one more, right? So
What's
I'm
one
happy for
more?
him.
That's a great slogan for us to adopt.
I know. And like, I'm happy for him. I'm rooting for him. I like Wesley. I don't know how I feel about Tyler Bate because I'll be honest, even if a Brit wrestler wasn't implicated in speaking out, it's like the whole terrain kind of got reassessed for me. So me and Thyler,
It's like a
I
cop situation almost. Like even if you weren't directly implicated, you still were there when all this other shit was going on and said nothing.
first of all, that was an amazing point, and I love you for making it because that's so true. But secondly, also, it's been weird for me to actually maintain appropriate eye contact with Tyler because our history. Like, if it wasn't looking at the thighs, what was it looking at? So it's been a weird space. It's been very touch and go, as opposed to thigh and go, but that's neither here nor there. And we've also been catching up on Stardom. It'll be nice when we can go back on these shows to talking about current Stardom stuff because it
Yeah.
does feel weird to talk about the Stardom stuff that we've done that's like a week or two old.
Yeah.
But we've also been doing that, and that's been nice. But I guess I'll hand it over to you, bud. You can cue us in here officially. I know, just to kind of set the groundwork for you, make it a bit easier for you. You told me before we went live the stuff I thought would be good on Collision was good, and the stuff that I thought would be meh, or in the word that we use, mid, was mid. And I had said to you like, oh well, how does it feel to be right? And you said quite aptly, not good actually, because we always prefer for a whole show to be good, or at least most of it
Yeah.
to be good.
Yeah.
So I just thought we could talk about the main thing. Swerve got a huge opportunity to face Tanahashi. That's definitely going to go in his highlight reel that he faced somebody of that caliber.
Mm.
I'm guessing Swerve seized the opportunity. He maximized his minutes. Did you feel like they had good chemistry? Because I know you said that Tanahashi might have been a bit out of shape, which might have left him a bit off step potentially. But
Yeah,
did you
he
feel like the
did.
chemistry was
It
there?
just seemed like he was just moving slow, and like,
Yeah,
especially with Swerve, where you have like a certain expectation for the pacing of the match. It
yeah.
just felt a little bit clunky because of that. I will say though, because I know you said that Swerve like maximized his minutes. He did, but he also lost.
Yeah, yeah. Man, it's kind of a problem in our business, and it's been a long-standing problem. I know when you and I were both really big into Dolph Ziggler and competitors like that. I don't like that Swerve could be in that class of competitor that you're really, really good, but by really, really good, we mean really, really good dot 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 hand for everybody else that we want to prioritize over you.
Yeah,
I don't like
gross.
the idea if, I could just be honest, that, there are people leapfrogging Swerve. I think this dude is a solid promo. I think his aesthetic is freaking great. I felt that way going all the way back to Hit Row. Obviously, in the ring, he's one of the most unique, innovative competitors out there, which I don't think, for me personally, that statement um, gets enough credit, not necessarily for me making it. I don't mean it in a narcissistic way. I mean in the sense that we don't appreciate what that means enough, because we live in a world where everybody's doing the flippy stuff. Everybody's doing the flipping pile drivers. Everybody's doing the crazy stuff where it's like, how can I break my body in two tonight? And Swerve's like, well, I can do that stuff, but it's more how I do it that's going to set me apart from all of you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get appreciated enough. It really doesn't. And it's just kind of a shame because, again, here's a guy with his own faction that is stacked. We've talked about that. A guy that himself is a believable figurehead, can carry himself well. I still don't like personally that he's not international champion. I don't like that he's not in the higher card spots. I will say though, it's amazing to me that he got a match on Collision. That if they would have put this on Forbidden Door, again, just one man's opinion that is disconnected. So I don't think my opinion should be as worth even as much as yours because you're more dialed in than I am on AEW. But in my opinion, from what I've seen, if you would have put Swerve Tanahashi at Forbidden Door, that would have been one of the more believable and hype matches on a pay-per-view card. Because this pay-per-view card, I'm looking at it and I'm kind of like, huh, that's interesting. And that's kind of my vibe, right? Because I'm like some really weird choices here, especially again CM Punk versus Kojima, but that's a whole other can of worms that I'm not really in the mood to open right now. So Tanahashi won. Let me ask you: did MJF do any kind of run-in or anything to kind of get a leg up on Tanahashi before their match tomorrow night, or did just Tanahashi accelerate?
No. MJF, after the match was over, after Tanahashi won, MJF had a pre-tape promo that played on the Tron, cutting down Tanahashi, cutting down Canada, the whole shebang, and saying about how, none of it is worth my physical presence in person and all that shit. So, the typical MJF shit.
I might be way out of pocket for saying this, so I want to ask everybody to forgive my face preemptively. But after the Stardom events we did cover today, which I'm not going to get too into because that's outdated, that doesn't fit the scope of this show.
Yeah.
But I do think Natsuko Tora is a better heel than MJF. I'm just gonna put that out
Yeah,
there for
I'm not
everybody.
going to disagree with you, bro. That's not
Yeah,
a bad observation at all, I don't think.
like I just feel like what she said, and this was on the 11th show, so again it's dated, but what she said on that show to Utami cut me deeper than anything MJF's ever done on the mic,
Hmm.
and like that, yeah, good for Natsuko. Good for Natsuko. I think, sometimes we may even take heels a bit, like heels like her, for granted, because they're not in the main event. They're not shoved in our face.
Hmm.
She's better than I give her credit for. And it's not often I admit that I'm wrong in that way. I understand that I can be a bit stubborn. Um, Foster, it's funny because I just want to address that very quickly. I used to be like you, and I feel like a part of me still is because he said, I'm going to be honest. I like face swerve a lot more than heel swerve. I love face swerve. I think the dude, with how he carried himself as a face, like that's a guy that you put in comic books that kids are inspired by, and this and that. But here's the thing, I think he could be great in either role. You just got to give him the TV time and the platform.
Yep.
That's why I feel like the international title would have been so good for him. Because I don't think the alignment is the problem. It's the accessibility, it's the resources. Are you making him as much of a priority as you can be? And I don't think you are when he's had a feud with Keith Lee and they still haven't even had a singles match. This is very clearly a not a logistical issue, but a prioritization issue, a booking issue. In the broad sense, like a governance issue with how this promotion is run.
I will also
So yeah,
add that personally, my two favorite sort of versions, or I guess eras of Swerve, were heel kill shot and hit row.
yeah, and I could definitely see why I loved Hit Row. Heel kill shot. I liked babyface kill shot more for me personally.
See, and
But
I
I can yeah.
loved babyface kill shot, but when he went heel and he started like spamming double stomps and being way more aggressive in the ring, he was like that that sort of moment in time was like, I think he was my favorite wrestler, like maybe one up there with as far as like ever goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, like your history with Swerve and your support of him is so well documented and it's beautiful because like that's another reason why I want him to succeed because you have been behind him so long and I've thrown like my weight behind him, but you've always been the guy that's like, no, like I watch the matches because I'm very like loose on that end. I
Mm-hmm.
watch the matches, I see the promos, I see what he's doing. He's good. He's better than good, and he deserves better than what AEW gives him. And like I want to see your conviction validated in that way. I want to see you and AEW align on that. And I think what's so heartbreaking is that that alignment's just not happening.
Yeah.
And I even me, for as casual as I've become in terms of like, let me dip that toe. In the words of Mitch, let me dip that toe in AEW. It's confounding to me because I'm like, I'm sorry for all the people you prioritize. I think Swerve is either as good a worker as them, if not better. And like, it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Swerve Tanahashi. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight from Collision that you'd like to have a little sidebar about,
Oh
or
my
just
bro, I'm telling you, you know how we have kind of had discussions before about how cool it would be if WWE would break Raw down into 3 hours, where the first hour would be kind of like the G-rated, like designed to be like the kids show, so that the kids who are like in school and have to get to bed early would be able to watch the first hour and then go to bed and be good. And then the second hour would be more like the variety hour, and you can kind of have a little mix. And then hour three is like more aimed at adults, and that's like your TV 14, and you get like the more hardcore matches and any kind of sexualized stuff that you want to do, you can do in that hour and stuff like that.
yeah, I do remember that discussion.
The first hour of Collision is gonna end up being my favorite hour of wrestling television in the US. Period.
Interesting.
If it keeps up at this rate, because last week we got Andrade versus Buddy Matthews, and we got what else was last week in the first hour? Um, there was something else in the first hour. The Wardlow Luchasaurus match with Luchasaurus winning the title and Christian Cage celebrating like he won the title.
Yeah, yeah.
Those both happened in the first hour last week. And then this week, the first hour, we got Swerve versus Tanahashi and Brody King versus Andrade.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. How was Brody King versus Andrade? Because that was another matchup that kind of made me raise an
So
eyebrow.
fucking good, dude. It's so fucking. I'm telling you right now, every time I get to see Andrade wrestle, it is just such a joy. He's incredible. He is, and I do mean this when I say it, he is in the conversation for best in the world. He's up there. Like, I know that there are a lot of like New Japan snobs that would be like Okada, Sonata, Tanahashi, whatever. Andrade is at least on that level, if not better.
First of all, I completely agree with you on that. I think Andrade is so polished and so technically complete as a performer. I will say too, to give Brody his flowers, Brody's always been a weird one to me because I'll be truthful with you, bro. I never clicked with him in PWG.
Right.
But I think him being a part of House of Black, sometimes it just takes like a new gimmick or something, and it's like, okay, I'm liking the alignment here because I really grew an appreciation for Brody for no other reason because of how like he would just manhandle Darby Allin. Like I still remember that one battle royal with the finish where he's got him in like the sleeper and he's just holding him like in the air and then he just
Yeah,
drops
drops
him
him. Yeah, that
for the
was
win.
great.
So like, did Brody come off well here, or do you think like Andrade's
Yeah,
just so good it doesn't even matter because he just carries both
a
guys?
little of column A, a little column B, honestly. I think Brody did come off well, but Andrade is just so magical, it doesn't really matter how good his opponent is, honestly. Like, dude, you gotta realize you need to go back and watch the two Andrade matches from Collision, the Buddy Matthews match and the Brody King match. Cause like it's Andrade, but like he's channeling his inner Mina Shirakawa now too, because he's working the leg now. And he's using a figure
Um,
four and
yeah.
into a figure eight even. Like it's becoming a thing.
Yeah, dude, like that's the thing about Andrade specifically because when we were more connected to AEW this last go around before I'm just like I'm done and we would see Andrade matches, he has that magical ability where you could go and I'm just pulling a number arbitrarily out of the air here, but you could go 6 months without seeing an Andrade match, see one and you feel like you're right back in the thick of things. Like this
Yeah.
is why this guy is so good. This is why I
Yeah.
cheerleaded him so hard because it happened to me.
Yeah.
I think I even remember telling you on one Twitter recording because I think it was a match with either like Darby or Jungle Boy or something. And I'm like, dude, I forgot how good Andrade was. But when you remember and
Yeah.
you want him to take everything. And then here's the funny thing though, and I'm not going to project this on any other fan. Like I know that I'm weird and I've got my hangups, so I'll just localize this to myself. But when you remember, you also get irrationally angry because when you remember, you're like, wait, if he's still always been this good, how is he still not a world champion where he is?
Mm-hmm.
Or how is he still not just a title holder where he is? Like,
I feel deprived.
bro, I'm telling you, and again, risk of hyperbole always, but I always got to speak my truth if nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, you had your generations of fans that were like, oh, Ted DiBiase and Mr. Perfect were robbed. Other people would say, like, oh, this guy could have been something, you know, like Shelton Benjamin, I think kind of fits our generation in terms of like ruthless aggression and stuff. Muhammad Hassan, certainly. I feel like Andrade for this age, if he doesn't really get to be the guy anywhere and have that big world title run, I'm going to be like, that guy got royally screwed because he looks the part, he wrestles the part. I don't even think his promos are that bad, and it wouldn't even be that hard to get
Dude,
him
I
a
was gonna say,
mouthpiece.
I don't give a fuck about his promos. You could put the mask back on him and give him the Prince Puma treatment and have him never speak, and he would still be the best performer in your company. He's fucking incredible.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think I may be too ignorant of the wrestling landscape at present to make sweeping statements like this, but I almost feel like lucha libre culture is low key getting screwed right now because you've got Bandito, who I don't think is being used right, Andrade, who I think for the longest time has been getting used right, and they're like diamonds, dude. Like they're really, really good at what they
You know
do.
what though,
It's
dude?
like,
Here's
what's
my
going
thing.
on, man?
Bandito's incredible as like a sideshow act. And like I shouldn't even say that, because Bandito could absolutely be a main eventer. Bandito's an amazing, like, how do I describe this? Bandito is an amazing like acrobat and like an attraction. That's the word. Bandito's an amazing attraction. Andrade is the reason you pay for the fucking ticket.
I I ultimately would agree with you. I think my thing with Bandito is I look at him and I'm tired of like the Rey Mysterio comparisons because he's like in his own league and he is rightfully a legend. But I do see Bandito as like that top baby face that kids would just flock to see, probably again because of the acrobatics
Oh
and stuff
yeah.
like you noted.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
do I
dude,
think
that's perfect.
yeah.
He is in that lineage of Rey Mysterio. Perfect.
And like I will say though, Andrade it's so funny that he's even like with Charlotte and everything with me about to say this, but he has that Ric Flair vibe where it's like you pay to see him work his magic, and especially if he's getting that heat, you pay to see him get beat. Like he is the draw. He is like the ticket gate for
Dude, you
me.
know
So
who
I agree with you.
whom I think my best sort of like parallel for Andrade is?
Who's that?
AJ Styles.
Honestly, that's perfect. That's perfect
Because
because yeah,
that's
like
like
yeah,
I can even tell you, like when I was younger, when I was like 21, 22 years old and Impact was starting to tour a little bit more, they had a
yeah,
show that was like relatively close to me, and I had a friend that I talked wrestling with at the job that I had at the time, and I straight up told him there is literally one dude outside of WWE that I would pay money to see, and that's AJ Styles, and that's exactly how I feel about Andrade.
Yeah, like I've had Angel, my friend Angel, like go to New Japan shows, and like he met Tanahashi one time and stuff. But his great whale, right, was always Okada because
Right, of
Okada's always been
course.
his favorite. I think for me, I never got to see Benoit or Guerrero or any of those guys I grew up with, and that's always kind of a regret for me.
Right.
But I think for this generation, yeah, if you were to say like, oh, I'd pay to see Andrade, I believe it. This dude, like, it's amazing that there are pro wrestlers and then there are people that live pro wrestling, and Andrade to me just comes off as the latter, 100%. Like it's just he is such a step
I
above
think Andrade is
everybody
cut from the
else.
same cloth as like a Brian Danielson.
Oh, a
Like
100%.
that's like the holy trinity of pro wrestlers in the U.S. right now. Danielson, Styles, Andrade. Like those are the guys to me that like that's the like if we're talking about the best in the world conversation, those are the three U.S. representatives that belong in the conversation and nobody else. Like anyone else
Okay.
you want to talk about, other countries because those are the only guys in the U.S.
I got nothing to add to that. That's an emphatic statement. Anything else you'd like to talk about from Collision, brother?
Willow and Nyla had a pretty solid match that Willow won. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny that we're speaking of women's wrestling now because I do want to take this moment to say, welcome to the chat, Gala. Lovely to see you. Gloves for Gala always. Um, I gotta say, man, it sucks that Sasha got injured, and it would have been very interesting what she could have done with that championship. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy Willow's getting the experience
Yeah.
because I think long term she is gonna be so much better for it. And I think in a way that helps the wrestling industry because here's the thing, I don't doubt that Sasha loves wrestling, but loving something doesn't mean you don't have to be intelligent about it. I think she's being very intelligent with how she works, how much she gets paid, whatever. And I think Sasha's always kind of, in my opinion, glancing at the door, thinking like, okay, when do I make my exit and when do I really take advantage of like Hollywood and branching out and discovering more about myself?
Yeah.
Willow, I think, is going to be very grounded in pro wrestling. So actually, in my mind, I think she is the asset you kind of build and cultivate right now. So I
Dude,
think through
yeah.
this kind of, I won't call it a happy accident because there's nothing happy about it, but through this, series of events, you've
Silver
really been able to
lining.
cultivate this silver lining. You've really been able to cultivate Willow and have an asset that's going to be with you long term, and she's better for this experience.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
was literally
happy.
because we
Yeah.
were in a call. There were six of us in the call for Collision tonight. It was me, Curtis, Javaris, Dom, Mark, and DBK. And when Willow was coming out, I literally said if she gets better in the ring, because I do think that she still has some, aspects as far as her in ring goes that do need work. But she gets better in the ring. She's someone that, like Jamie Hayter, that you could build a division around because she has that big, like larger than life personality, total sweetheart, very likable, all the charisma in the world. I adore Willow and I want to see her succeed. So here's to hoping that the in ring continues to come along. It's been coming along really nicely. Her matches with both Momo Kogo and Mercedes were both really good.
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
And
I,
this
I
match was
think
really good. This was a really solid match with Nyla Rose.
absolutely. I'm so happy for her because I think, we want to see people win. We don't come out here, rooting for anybody to fail or
Yep.
fall on their face. I don't watch wrestling to just boo people that just aren't good, i.e., Sakurai and Stardom, which is an example I use because Stardom is far and away my favorite promotion right now. So I'm happy that Willow is getting better with every match. She's finding her footing as the champion. She's really coming into her own. That's beautiful to me. So I don't know what her and Tony is going to be like tomorrow. I'll be honest with you. I don't even really like that match is happening for the AEW Women's Championship because I feel like, how can I put this? I don't like that the New Japan Strong Women's title is being treated as secondary because we can all think that it is, but you shouldn't like overtly say it to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And obviously Willow's gonna have to take the loss or something's gonna have to happen. And I don't like the idea of a champion losing to another champion. Like I don't like this hierarchy of titles, seemingly, because like if I was a booker, you know, I don't care even if it's the WWE champion. I get that everybody perceptually is going to say, yeah, that's the more prestigious title, but isn't that all the more reason why my guy should look good or my girl should look good? Because everybody already has that perception. So why are we leveraging the booking to vindicate that perception rather than challenging it? And I feel like they're not. challenging it for me. I don't know if I put that well, but that's just kind of how I feel about that match. I don't really
Bro,
vibe with it that
what do we
much.
think the odds are that Willow just wins this tournament?
I could kind of see it, to be honest. I in my mind, I was already kind of writing Athena in as the winner of this tournament.
Dude, I think
Um,
Athena's going to lose to Billy Starks in the first round.
that's going to be very interesting if you're right, because
I
like
mean,
I
we're
know,
gonna find out tomorrow because that match is in the dark, like the buy-in for Forbidden Door.
yeah,
But yeah, so apparently Athena has already had a non-title match against Billy in a situation where if Billy would have beaten her, she would have gotten the title match and beaten Billy in that match.
right,
So I'm thinking Billy beats Athena here, then loses in the next round, but because she beat Athena, she gets a title shot at
okay.
the ROH Women's title because she hasn't defended it against her yet. That's my mind. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen.
I like what you're laying down, King. I think that's
But
agreeable,
if that
especially
happens,
yeah,
though, if Billy would beat Athena and then lose in the next round, her opponent in the next round would be Willow. So that would put Willow immediately in the finals. And her opponent in the
yeah,
finals is going to be like probably Britt Baker, maybe?
yeah.
Or maybe
Which
Ruby
like
Soho. But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it will be. Maybe Ruby will win it this year. I don't know. You know what? It would make a lot of sense for Ruby to win because she has all the help and she can just win by cheating, and that includes against Willow in a situation where you don't want to have Willow lose clean because of that New Japan Strong Women's Championship. So you could have Ruby beat her dirty, and then have the title match happen, and Willow wins clean there.
yeah, I like Willow, but you saying all that, like I've always been an advocate for Ruby. I think honestly, she's probably one of the more underrated women in the game, just
Yeah,
because of how
I would
solid
agree with
she is.
that.
I think honestly, Ruby's one of those women, and I want to put this delicately here, but that I feel like is almost taken for granted,
Yeah,
just because she's so quietly consistent.
yeah.
So I think it would be cool for her to get this, and honestly,
She
I
definitely
think it
doesn't
would.
get enough credit from, especially I would say the fans, but the booking even doesn't give her enough credit.
And you know why I like it too, even from like a broader, like out of my feelings perspective about Ruby, I think it would really be beneficial to the Outcast because they'd have the AEW Women's World Title. Soraya has her name, and just the idea that she's back and she's wrestling, and I think she can coast on that for a bit longer. Ruby kind of feels like the Outcast in the Outcast because it's like, well, what
Right.
are you cooking? What are you doing? And so her winning this, it's like, look, we're all doing
And you
stuff.
can bet your ass
Yeah.
Soraya is going to be involved in some kind of championship match at All In because she's British.
Exactly. So like, yeah, I wouldn't even be surprised, dude, now that they got it off Jade, if like maybe Soraya wins the TBS championship. She gets TBS, Tony gets AEW Women's World, and fucking Ruby gets this Queen of Hearts, like, the Heart Foundation tournament
There
kind of
is a title
championship.
that's supposed to go with it, but I don't
Yeah.
know. They don't usually wear it afterwards. At least,
No,
Britt didn't last year. I think she won it last year and she didn't wear it.
I think she only wore it like one time and that was it,
Yeah.
just to like remind everybody like I won this. But
Maybe
like,
that'll
yeah,
be the visual though. Maybe if they really do that with Soraya beating Statlander for the TBS title, maybe they'll have the one time that Ruby wears that title be for an entrance where all three of them have a championship.
Yeah, and I think that'd be great for the faction, especially as a heel faction, because
Yeah.
then when the baby faces overcome, it's like, okay, that's why I think the bloodline worked so well and is still working well, like 3 years in. But yeah, man, I really like where your mind is at with this. I have no disagreements, no pushback, no any kind of counterpoints. We'll just have to see it play out. So what else would you like to discuss from Collision, if anything?
That's it for Collision, I think, because I'm pretty sure the only other stuff that happened was Powerhouse Hobbs squash and the main event, which I did not watch.
Okay, that is more than fair. While we're just on the AEW train, should we just knock out Dynamite? Because I just thought
Hey,
it was
yeah,
so
I'm fine with that
skippable.
if you want to.
Yeah, this week. Really, there's not much to say, quite honestly.
Do we want to knock out Rampage even faster?
Yeah, because the only big thing to me was Johnny Television or whatever with QT Marshall, which wow. But I'm happy for Johnny though. Like he's in his 40s now. He is at that stage of his career where it's like, I mean, hell, dude, these days, I'm not surprised when people are like 48 and still competing with the shape he's in. I honestly think in a way he could go as long as he wants. But
Dude,
he
did
might
you
be thinking about.
see the fucking Harley Cameron shit before the official debut of Johnny TV?
No, I did not.
Oh my God, she tried to rap and everything, and she even insinuated that Anthony Bowens was like hot for her, and he had to set her straight. He was like, maybe you got kicked too many times in the head by a kangaroo when you were a kid, but I'm gay. The crowd literally chanted, "He's gay, he's gay, he's gay" at her.
Why would you? I apologize, everyone. I'm just taking a minute to wrap my head around that. I don't understand why you would put yourself out on Front Street like that with a gimmick. First of all, and look, I'm just going to be truthful. I think that's terrible booking. You already have not only a rapping gimmick, but a genuinely good one in the acclaimed. So I
Well,
don't
Anthony
understand.
Bowens was that was the acclaimed. She was trying to rap at the acclaimed.
Oh yeah, okay. So she's trying to meet them where they're at. Well, that works stupendously. But then, like, here's the thing. It's still weird to come at it from that angle because it's like I can understand people being ignorant about something, but not something that's so I don't want to say integral to the product, but seemingly so well known. Like we've known that Bowens is gay for a while, so that's just kind of weird
She
that they were trying
clearly
to get around.
didn't do her research.
Well, that's on her, and that's
Bro,
why
it's
when somebody
still
goes
just
out
so
there.
weird to me that Harley Cameron is a thing. Like, remember that one episode of NXT where they featured her like she was a big deal, and then we looked and she had like no following anywhere at all?
Yeah, yeah.
What the Where did this woman come from, and why is she relevant at all?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I
And
don't know
personally, I think this whole experience teaches us that some things aren't meant to be understood. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess that wraps up AEW
Wait,
stuff because again, they
we never wait. That was a tiny little thing from Rampage, and we never talked about Dynamite. So
oh well, like I said with Dynamite though, it was weird, man, because it just seemed like I don't know, like it just felt kind of mad to me. A lot of the stuff seemed pretty skippable. It didn't feel like Forbidden Door was on the horizon to me, anyway. Um,
God, the Hardys versus yeah, dude, that's right. I slept through the first third of Dynamite.
yeah,
Cause
Hardy's Guns, which like
yeah, I literally fell asleep at like 7:30 on Wednesday, and I woke up just long enough to pull Dynamite up on my TV. But then when I saw that the Hardys and Gun Club were opening the show, I fell right back to sleep. I woke up long enough to see that Jeff Jarrett versus Mark Briscoe in a concession stand brawl was the thing that happened after the Hardys versus the Gun Club. Fell back to sleep, and then I woke up at the end of Jericho, Sammy, and Suzuki versus Andretti, Martin, and Fox to see Jericho cutting a promo, and then I kind of like barely was starting to wake up because Suzuki existed on my television. And then fucking Darby and Sting came out, and they were like, "Oh, we've got a partner."
yeah, I Jericho's really he doesn't come off as an asset to me in this company. I know he would probably have a Twitter storm telling me why I'm wrong. And his fans would probably substantiate said Twitter storm piling on why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it's hogging TV time to me. I don't have that much of a problem with Sting, but I'm like, sooner or later you've got to hand the torch to Darby. Now, don't get me wrong, Stinger. I understand your apprehension. I mean, you didn't exactly back a winner here, baby. But sooner or later,
Don't tell Kirby.
yeah, no, I won't. But sooner or later, you either got to do the angle with Darby where you just bequeath the legacy unto him, and then watch him fumble the bag. One man's opinion. I don't have any faith in Darby at all. I never have. He's such a pathological liar. He would tell you he has faith in himself, and I wouldn't believe him because his lips are moving. And yeah, just everything. It just, I'm telling you, dude, the setup to a lot of Forbidden Door stuff I felt like this was like a second hour of Rampage or something. It didn't feel like it had any pep in its step to me at all. I'm like, why wasn't this on Rampage? Hell, why wasn't this on Dark even? Like, I really didn't
I
feel
don't
like why
think
is
that
this
Dark and
Dynamite?
Elevation even exist anymore.
Well, maybe it should for stuff like this because when I think Dynamite, like this is your flagship show, right? And this
Yeah.
just didn't feel like flagship material to me.
You sure would hope so.
Oh well, we can hope in a lot of things. I hope in your face, for instance, but the difference is at least I get vindicated in that hope. This, not so much.
Hmm.
This, yeah, yeah, I think that's good enough.
This
This.
sucked?
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah, even yeah, it did. But even just this, I think that's enough effort because that's about as much effort as they showed on their program for this.
Nice.
So MJF and Adam Cole did something, and like,
They're going to be
look,
tag team partners, and Adam convinced MJF to accept Tanahashi's challenge at Forbidden Door.
God, I know I'm an old head, and I apologize, everyone, but I really did feel like I got spoiled in my era, and maybe I do wear rose-colored glasses because I feel like it's so rare. The only time I've seen strange bedfellows, quote unquote, work as well as the infamous Angle Benoit storyline that culminated in their amazing Rumble matchup for the WWE title was Arisa and Tam. Like that was
Are we not
amazing work.
counting The Bar as Strange Bedfellows, considering that whole
You
tag
know,
team started with them hating each other?
that is fair, and I think that was also a good effort. I would put that at A tier, but I would put Tam and Arisa and Angle and Benoit S tier. And like MJF and Adam Cole, what's funny is I can't even be too hard on it in the sense that they did lay the groundwork with a really competitive TV match, but like you gotta let it breathe a little bit. So for me with this, I think it's kind of a pacing problem because you had the first great match, but I would have liked maybe one other one, and then like maybe in the post match they're really physical because it's like God damn it, I hate you kind of thing. Like I know I'm better than you. This is crap kind of thing, and then like Tony Schiavone, I guess, which it's weird that like they have him in the position they do because I'm like, are you trying to give Schiavone the pops? Like, what is going on here? Because
Dude,
he was
Siobhan, it's you. You make a really good point there. Thank you for asking that question because Shivani, yeah, it does seem like they are because every time, like even tonight, or was it tonight or Wednesday? It was either tonight or Wednesday that Shivani was in the ring with Jericho, and I think Jericho was like threatening Shivani, and Sting's music hit, and Shivani did the "It's Sting" thing that he does literally every single fucking time that Sting comes out into the mic rather than commentary.
yeah. I'm not trying to dog on Shivani, but again, I can only be honest. He kind of annoys me a little bit because I know some of the tropes in WWE commentary that you have hated, right? I've noticed in Shivani. Like one thing I notice when I canvas AEW clips so that I don't leave you in the trenches because even I'm not that much of a heel. I'll notice that Shivani will sometimes get in on the headset, what a moment! And I hate it because it's like, have we forgotten how to let wrestling moments just breathe and become moments organically? Like,
Yeah.
like maybe that's why the Bloodline stuff has worked. Because I'm pretty sure if you canvassed enough of the archive, you would probably hear Cole say a few times, like, "What a moment!" But I also know there were just as many times, like Sammy getting beat down, for instance. Like commentary was just silent. Right? You didn't hear Cole say, like, after Sammy's beat down and the bloodline leaves, folks, what a moment. Sammy's been disrupted because it would have ruined it. But like, because that didn't happen, and also the same with Sammy sacrificing Kevin in War Games. I don't remember Cole saying what a moment. And
Right.
because of that, it's like they became moments on their own because everybody involved was so damn good. Like to me, and this is probably overanalyzing, and I do apologize, but like I feel like when you say what a moment, you're being a crutch to the talent because you don't trust them to make it a moment on their own.
Hmm.
And that's insulting to everyone. It's
Well,
insulting to
plus,
me.
you're
Yeah.
like telling your audience how to feel too. It's like,
Yes,
leave it to
exactly.
your audience to determine what the great moments are and what isn't. Because when you try and tell them, that makes everything feel superficial.
Hey, no, you hit it right on the head, man, because just as you were like gearing up to say that, I was going to say that it feels manipulative, straight up. It feels like you're manipulating me as a viewer. You're telling your talent implicitly, like, hey, I've seen you out there. You need all the help you can get. You know what I'm saying? And like
Hmm.
that's insulting. And I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that. And with Cole and MJF, to bring it back to the original point of departure, with them being strange bedfellows in this tag tournament, it's like it's fine, but I feel like you could have let it breathe a little more. You could have had maybe one more match before you did this, and then I would have felt like, okay, now we're in that territory where there is animosity. These guys are super competitive. They do believe in themselves, and you're really winding up. But I feel like it is, for me, just my opinion. I'm sure there are other people that either hate it even more than I do, or maybe love it. I just think it comes down to a pacing issue for me. So they do that, and they even show the moment where they both say, "Shut up, Shivani," and they look at each other. This was not a Step Brothers moment. They did not become best friends, just for anybody curious. Um, but yeah, it's just It's weird, and I get that they're trying to do variations. Like I know Curtis was telling me this in the Discord, where it's like, oh, but Adam Cole is exploiting MJF's insecurities, by calling him a coward and really kind of telling him the truth to his face about how he's conducted himself as champion. And duly noted. I think Curtis makes a worthwhile point, but I think it just you can do those small variations and it's okay if the champion's of enough quality to get that over. But MJF is just stuck in his own idiosyncrasies, in his own tropes,
Yeah,
right? He can't work beyond his tropes. And that's a problem.
yeah,
Um and like that's what separates the good from the great. And I think a lot of people these days wouldn't even say that MJF is good. I'm even getting to that point, and how much rope I've given the dude to try and support him and undergird him, in like defense and stuff like that. Even I'm just like, I think this was a mistake. I was excited for him to be world champion because I'm like, I really want to see what he can do. Well,
yeah,
I've seen it and I'm not impressed.
right.
And that's kind of where where we're at. Super Blue, I don't even know what that's referring to, but I'm sure we'll get to that in due time. Bud, welcome to the chat, though. Great to see you. So yeah, beyond this, man, what else from Dynamite? Because again, I know I watched clips, but to be honest with you, it was a mid show. I think he meant Yo's face, as in Yo and Show.
Oh, of course, it's Super Blue. He's a Yo fan, and I guess Osprey must have been on the team that was against the team with Yo. He's talking about Rampage. There was an 8-man tag, and it was Swerve and the United Empire against Chaos. And Chaos was literally just the best friends, so Chuck and Trent, teaming with, I think it was Rocky Romero and Yo. I think that was the Chaos team. And then I'm assuming United Empire. I honestly don't know. Swerve, obviously Osprey was there. I'm assuming Kyle Fletcher was there. We know Mark Davis is injured, and I don't know who the fourth one was.
Right. Yeah. Again, I don't even know if I watch that part. Actually, no, I think I did because I did want to see the ending of Okada and Danielson kind of confronting each other. And I saw that Yuta ate a Rainmaker, and then he tweeted afterwards, "Does that mean I'm out of chaos?" So kind of funny. But yeah, man.
Oh, it was Cobb. It was Cobb was the fourth one.
I'll tell you, man. I'm not trying to be out here burying Forbidden Door, but if I'm Danielson and Okada, I am patting myself on the back hard because I feel like our match is carrying the pay per view personally. I'm like, everybody's tuning into this to see us, and don't even kid yourselves. Like, I know you're all hyped for your matches, and that's cute, but like, we're the draw here. We're feeding you tonight, and you're welcome. Like that is honestly the energy I would
Holy
have.
shit!
Because
The way you said that, we're feeding you tonight. You're welcome.
yeah, I mean,
Holy shit!
I'm sorry if that was primo douche, but that's just, it's like,
Sometimes you channel it without even realizing it, and that's when it's at its best, in my opinion.
I appreciate it. I appreciate being savored. But yeah, this card is so weird, but yet I look at Okada and Danielson as the glimmering, gleaming jewel of the whole thing. Like that match is happening in the year of our Lord David Otunga 2023, and we eating good.
Would
We're
you
eating
agree
good.
that Okada is almost definitely winning that match? By the way.
Since I know we're not doing preview and predictions and it's okay for me to discuss this, yeah, actually, I do think he's winning, mainly because I know how selfless Danielson is, and I don't think he needs the win. Not necessarily to say that Okada needs it either, but like New Japan ain't gonna have Okada taking the L here, even if it is to a guy the caliber of Danielson. I definitely think
Plus,
he's
I
winning.
also look at it as like it's not just like Okada, it's specifically Okada in front of the AEW audience, so like much less familiarity there than Okada in New Japan.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, should be stellar though. I might even pull up a stream when I know that match is happening and watch it. Like I even know
Yeah.
Angel just messaged me like, "Oh, is that happening tomorrow?" And I said, "Yep." So I'm gonna have to remember to hook him up as well,
Nice.
because Okada's his boy, and I don't think like this is a big deal in the wrestling world for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to say like kudos to those guys because they did a little bit of build. I know there was a video package that was put out, and I want to watch that because I think like they both kind of did talking in that, and it seemed like the hype was real. So credit to both those guys. But yeah, I'm just gonna be honest, Super Blue, because you've been talking about what happened to Yo. I didn't see it, and I don't really care for Osprey. I mean, I've mocked his name for how long now, and Yo's mid. Yo's mid, and show should
That's
have been
so
so much
generous of
better.
you to say. That's so nice of you.
your face is beautiful, and I appreciate it. A show should have been a lot higher on the card than what he is. I will never forgive House of Torture for ruining him. He should have been a megastar by now because Yo was supposed to be the only pair of lead shoes that he ever wore in his life. Um, well, I think that's enough of a visceral opinion to share there. What else can we talk about from Dynamite, if anything, or can we move on to like? I'm guessing we'll save SmackDown for last because obviously the number one storyline
Um,
is there.
Chris Statlander successfully defended the TBS title against Taya, and it was a really solid match.
I did. I'm really happy for Taya and the body of work she's been putting together in AEW. I know she was not happy in NXT as Frankie Monet, which is such a shame because I feel like WWE really let a good one go.
Yeah, they dropped
In
the
her.
ball, which they just love to do that with women, especially.
Yeah, they do. It's like, no, no, put it in the basket, the basket. Okay, okay, you dropped it on the floor. Okay, that's a choice. And that's kind of my temperament with them. Very stern and
We were
concerned.
actually just having a whole conversation about Saray earlier because of the whole like Julia potentially going to the US thing.
Yeah.
And the idea that like I think Kirby it was that said that he thought that if Julia were to go to the US that it would be to WWE, and I was just like, you realize that over the last decade, every new Japanese girl that they've signed, they've treated worse than the last. Like Asuka, they treated the best by far. They gave her the undefeated streak. They gave her everything in NXT. They gave her world titles on the main roster, everything, and she's the most over out of all of them. Kairi, they treated her the next best in NXT, and she would have probably won world titles on the main roster if she stuck around long enough, but she decided to go home. Io is the most talented of the group, and she got treated worse than either of Asuka or Kylie in NXT, and now is looking like she's hopefully going to win a world title on the main roster, but we'll see. But is just getting over because of her pure talent, because she's just insanely talented. And then Soraya was the fourth one, and she got treated pretty like mediocrely in NXT, and then like they decided to make her into a fucking schoolgirl, and it was just dead on arrival.
Yeah. Um, Here's the thing, Julia definitely has international potential.
Yes.
Um, the funny thing is, okay, I feel like this is a broader discussion that doesn't even belong here, but I'm going to have it anyway since we've started it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to know how Julia felt about how her title reign ended because here's the thing. I do love Stardom with my whole heart, but I also know that that could make me prone to overlooking some things. It's pro wrestling. Politics pervade everywhere, and I have to wonder internally if there were any sour grapes of like, but my title reign just got started. I had this whole story, and I get the Tam and I have this rivalry, but I'm dropping it to her. Why? Because like this is like her hurrah run. Like, shouldn't you be focusing on the future, like in a way? So Julia might really believe in herself, and she might have felt a certain way. Maybe she didn't. Again, this is purely speculative. This is not me saying anything about Julia as a person. But if she does go to the US, I would have to wonder if it was spurned on by that because I really thought Julia was going to be like a foundational brick in building the Bushi Road era of Stardom. If she does go to the US, though, it's so interesting to me because Julia isn't the problem. I just don't like the US climate of pro wrestling right now, like at all. And I think it's not her, it really is a case of it's not her, it's them. Like I just feel like no matter where she goes, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous if it was AEW, I'd be nervous if it was WWE. And who else is there, right? Like I guess there's New Japan Strong, but like still again Bushi Road. So like why even leave Stardom at that point? Um yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see with Julia. It really is because she's got an amazing look, and God knows she's amazing in the ring. But yeah, I don't know what she would want to do. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm sorry, friend. What were we talking about before this? Like just on Dynamite,
Mm,
or not even Dynamite? I feel like did we switch gears to? Oh, it was
oh.
Ty and Statlander. That's right. It was Ty and
Yeah,
Statlander.
man, your memory's better than mine. Good job.
You're still so immensely talented. I'm so thankful you're here. So Statlander retained. That was cool. Taya had a great match. Statlander's doing well with the title. I think the TBS title, no disrespect to Jade, but I do think the TBS title is in a better place right now only because like now it's really having the good matches and it's really having the work rate matches that I think are going to grab more attention. But Jade is still like an interesting character, and I like that we haven't seen her. See, I wish AEW would do this with more of their talents because now my expectation when we see Jade again is not an entirely different character. I still think she's gonna have that bad bitch attitude, when she walks down the ramp. But I am expecting some kind of a change. Whether she's more aggressive because it's like, I can't believe that I lost my streak the way that I did and the way I lost it was bullshit, which I think she would certainly have an argument to make for that. Or if it's gonna be, you know what, I built one streak, now I'm going to build another, and that's going to be the bodies I pile up on my way to the AEW Women's World Title, and then go on a run with that. I am excited to see what they do with Jade next, but I'm happy that Statlander's getting this rub.
Yeah.
She seems like a sweetheart. I think she's one of the best in-ring performers that AEW has. I would either put her on the same level as Jamie Hayter, if not like a notch below at least. I
I
think Stat.
I would say yeah, like I would say just a tiny notch below Jamie. I think that
Yeah,
Statlander has the potential to be as good as Jamie. She's just not as polished, like you said.
exactly, exactly. But I think this is a good experience for her. I'll be curious what happens next. Taya, just to circle back to Johnny now being in the company, I don't know how long it's going to take for AEW to couple them up. I don't even know necessarily if I want it to. I remember once when Taya gave an interview, like she was in Impact, and Johnny, I think, was either in WWE still or he was just somewhere else away from her. And she said, yeah, we're married and I love him, but we're also our own people. And
Right.
it's nice that we get to do our own things in pro wrestling. And I want that for her.
Yeah.
I do. We're more of a political wrestling channel, unapologetically, mind you all. But I think we do at times need to remember that this is a patriarchal society, and that when we do see couples gimmicks, sometimes I wonder if the woman in the act, especially when we know for a fact they can work, gets the short end of the stick, because usually in that dynamic, it's the male counterpart that gets prioritized. And I don't want Taya to be subsumed under her husband's career. I don't think Johnny would want that either.
No.
He knows how amazing she is. So personally, I'm going to take potentially the hot take and say that I hope they stay apart for a while. I wouldn't mind if they stayed apart for a whole year before coming together. And when they do come together, don't just do it, build up to it. And
Dude, you know
really
what
make
would be fucking dope?
what's that?
I mean, first of all, priorities. I want Jesse back in Stardom with Club Venus. But if there's any issue with that, as far as visas go or anything, I would love to see her and Swerve in a feud with Johnny and Taya.
That would be incredible. I would be absolutely all for that,
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, you gotta build them right. I like where Taya's heel turn could be going because again, it does have a legitimate basis. I'd have sour grapes too, and now that Statlander beat her straight up, like then you just go to the classic pettiness and jealousy. Like I had a leg to stand on, the champion took that leg from me, so now I'm just going to stew in my anger. It's a classic heel story, but Taya's talented enough to tell it well.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool for her. I will say, Chief, and just to acknowledge your comment very quickly, I have heard amazing things about Athena versus Kira Hogan from Ring of Honor this week. And again, I have been saying that I just mainly have been taking a look at Athena's ROH run through Twitter because I see either interviews or GIFs from her matches, and it seems like she is wrestling out of her goddamn mind right now, and she's doing some of her best work of her career. And again, given that that was somebody else that WWE, I don't think they knew quite what they had in Athena. I love that for her
Yeah.
because I think the hardest thing for a wrestler to do, which is why I marveled at AJ Styles when he did it, when you have a company that actively depreciates your value after a while, to go out and rebuild that value is amazing to me.
Yeah.
I think AJ did it when he went to New Japan.
Yeah.
Athena's doing it now in Ring of Honor.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So
I
she's on
really
a
just wish Ring of Honor had a television show. I'd rather watch that than Impact on Thursdays, but
yes.
Impact is on TV. Ring of Honor requires a monthly subscription.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
financially, it just makes no sense for me to opt for Ring of Honor over Impact.
And that makes sense too, man. And look, we also have to acknowledge when you're talking about streaming, like even WWE, for all of its faults, and they exist in a plenitude, as we know, they understand that they live in a very broad media ecosystem that isn't just them.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a wrestling streaming service, when you're existing alongside, just to name a few, Disney Plus, Netflix, Paramount Plus, and Hulu,
Max.
Max, that better be the best goddamn wrestling I've ever
Did you
seen.
even mention Netflix?
I did mention Netflix.
Okay.
I thought I did anyway. Yeah. Like it better be the best damn wrestling I've ever seen. Cause like that's insane to me that you're not gonna be on TV, which I feel like is a safer part of the media ecosystem to be on if you're pro wrestling,
Yeah.
but you're just going to be you're just the streaming service. Like WWE at least is like, no, we're doing both. We have a streaming service through Peacock, but we have the television. ROH needs to get on that level because that's just I don't see how that can work honestly when you're competing with everything else that you're competing with. Um, but yeah, I think Athena's been doing really well. Ty is going to do really well with his heel turn. Statlander, I think, is in a great spot as the champion. It's um, it's just a great time. It's just a great time for those women. Other women are doing okay. There are other women that I wish would be doing a bit better. But that's how it goes. So, anything else from Dynamite that you want to just kind of touch on?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna be honest, man. The only big thing from Raw that I paid any kind of attention to, we know that Logan Paul's in Money in the Bank.
Blech.
Dude, I know. Like, I at least want to thank WWE because, they at least were considerate of me
They
enough this year to
crushed
show
your
my
dreams early this year.
They did. And I'm so thankful because now when you're as numb as I've become over the years of Money in the Bank, it doesn't even really hurt anymore. And when you feel that tear wants to flee the coop, you're just like, no, I'm sucking you back in, sucking you back in, buddy. Now is not the
Oh,
time for that.
Jesus
And the tear
Christ.
duct is like, I
So
understand,
sad.
Papa. I apologize.
Papa!
And it's great. It's my tear ducts have
Oh,
really learned from Abel how to conduct themselves accordingly. Son, if you're still
oh.
listening to this, you're perfect. I love
Wait,
you.
Abel's a tier conductor now?
I mean, Abel can be whatever he wants to be. Would you look at a man that handsome and tell him no on
Of
anything?
course not.
Exactly. So, yeah, Logan Paul came out and he did his whole thing, existing. And he's in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and it feels gross, right? It feels gross. I'm just gonna shoot my shot hella early, and I apologize for this. I'm already thinking he wins and he just cashes in on Seth at SummerSlam. Like we can see that, right? It just seems
It's
like
possible. Are we doing a Money in the Bank preview predictions next Friday night after SmackDown and Rampage, assuming you don't have housework going on at the time?
What's funny, bro, is we didn't even talk about it. Now, of course, when it comes to doing stuff with you and hammering out the schedule, I'm down for anything so long as it's, amenable to what I've got going on. And I'm in a period of my life where so much is happening right now. But I'll be honest, this is the first time where I'm like, does this pay-per-view even deserve one? Because they
Damn.
really kind of took the wind out of my sails with
I
Money
was
in the
gonna
Bank.
say, if they got you feeling that way about Money in the Bank, god damn.
Yeah, you really, I know I said I was numb, but I say a lot of things to protect myself, WWE, and you should know better. You really hurt me on this one. In fact, I know I do a lot of cursing and stuff, but clearly I've brought a different energy to today's episode. So I'm just going to say the one thing that I know hurts the most without a single swear. You really let me down. You really let me
Oh.
down.
Oh.
And I know if I were to say that to Ashton or Abel or like any of my different, it would destroy
It would
them.
cut to the bone, man. It would cut to
Yeah,
the bone.
yeah, you really let me down, WWE, and I hope
Okay, can you
you
stop
feel
saying it out loud at least?
yeah, I'm apologies, but yeah, I hope you marinate on it. You won't, but I would hope you do. And if you lose a wink of sleep, that might make me feel better about myself. But yeah, in all seriousness, bro, to bring it back to the topic of serious conversation, Paul being in it's Austin Theory all over again. Except I will give them this. I do like Paul as a worker a bit better than Theory. Even if he has more time to coordinate and do all that, I get all that. But at least he can do his share when the bell rings, with enough prep. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it won't be that bad. But like again, I know that this is boomer energy from me, but I really don't like where like WWE is headed, where like these media stars can be world champions, even if we do give them a lot of polish, because they used to laugh at WCW for like David Arquette and shit. I'm like, well, what's the difference really? Like, I don't like that. This was supposed to be a world champion to get us away from the people like Roman Reigns that aren't going to defend every show. Am I really supposed to believe that Logan Paul is going to defend every show? Maybe he will, and I'll be proven wrong. But I don't like it. I don't like it. I know, and you know what? Your reaction, honestly, for my false hope and grasping at straws, totally justified. Totally justified.
Well, John,
Yeah.
I have really good news for you.
What's that, friend?
I don't think that there's a chance in hell that Logan Paul's winning any kind of championships, at least not of the world variety, anytime soon.
Interesting. So you're actually more optimistic than I am, which I guess on the whole isn't too surprising. But I thought on this we would have consensus. That's very interesting to me. So, I noticed how you qualified that statement, though. That doesn't mean that you don't think he's winning the briefcase. You just feel like what he might use the briefcase on a mid card title instead if he wins it. Like,
I mean, I don't think he's winning the briefcase personally. I
interesting.
still think it comes down to either, um,
LA Knight. I'm
yeah, that
guessing.
guy, LA Knight or Damian Priest. I think those are the two favorites for me.
God, I wish Santos was more in the conversation.
So do I. So do
But
I.
yeah, yeah. Um, I would be happy for Priest though.
You
Priest
know
has
what?
done.
I'm gonna take a fucking side bet right here. I bet you Santos touches the briefcase as a tease.
Tease me, Daddy. Damn.
Oh,
Um. Oh, but I'm glad we had
I
that.
felt that in my fucking veins.
Can I be presumptuous enough to assume that you enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Excellent. And that's okay sometimes that we get to feel sounds like that. It's nice to know what a body can do, folks. But yeah, Santos, he's probably not winning, which means that I've got to be my own daddy in the situation, to comfort myself that such handsomeness isn't going to walk around with the briefcase for that long.
Oh, poop.
Uh, you know, Dude, can I say something else too? Like, because
You
again,
can say anything you want here. This is
I
our show.
I feel so safe, thank you. It's really weird to me because I don't like LA Knight, right? This isn't
No.
like me, whatever. But putting that aside and being an adult, which I don't like to do, to be crystal clear,
Yeah, fuck adulting.
right? He's getting these reactions, but they're still booking him like a heel. Like he attacked Rey Mysterio on Friday. And I'm like, are we not gonna dovetail him into being a babyface? Are you fighting again? Like, I don't understand why WWE, because this also makes me think of a situation that's actually important, the Bianca Belair situation. And I don't
Oh.
understand what you're doing. And we've said this before. This is not new. I am not saying anything novel. This amazing, beautiful face next to me here has been saying this for the longest time and saying it far more succinctly. This is a company that hates its own audience. And I really, to this day, I don't get it. You've got a guy in LA Knight that I don't like him, but he's getting pops. I've got to acknowledge the reality for what it is, especially when it's as overwhelming as it can be sometimes with certain crowds. But he's like ripping Ray, trying to rip Ray's mask off and doing like heel 101 stuff. Bianca, are you seriously going to tell me that a woman who got screwed out of her championship has tried to be a model person? Like, okay, you asked this of me, I did it. And then you're gonna act like she has attitude in the face of, and I love Adam Pearce. I actually respect Adam Pearce. Love was a bit strong. I respect Adam Pearce, and I don't think he's that overbearing of an authority figure. But like, he's a white authority figure and you're trying to make him the sympathetic one in the face of what? What? Say it, WWE. Say the quiet part. Don't get lazy on me. No, say it, WWE. What? The angry black
You're
woman?
quoting Josh.
And yeah, because it was great. And yeah, like I'm definitely feeling that energy. Like, yeah, we know what you're trying to say about Bianca, and I'm gonna be. I've been chill for a record amount
Oh
of time here.
God, I feel like they would use the U word to describe her if given the opportunity.
Yeah, dude. Like, wow. Just wow, honestly. Like, I really can't believe you're trying to sell this woman to me. And maybe they're not, but dude, it comes off to me like they are. And I
Oh,
feel
they
like I was,
100% are. There's no
yeah,
questions.
because I was even going to say, if I was out of pocket here, because you know how I'm revving myself
Oh,
up,
I
you
would
would
have
have
said
told me
something
that.
by now. Believe me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're really doing this. Wow.
They
Again,
are. They really
head
are.
shake.
They
Just
truly, genuinely are.
disappointed. Disappointed parent head shake is what I offer you, WWE.
Fuck you, Kevin
Jesus.
Sorbo.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus, tap dancing
You
Christ. That
baby
is,
motherfucker.
I know. Fuck you, Sorbet. Yeah, fuck. He doesn't even deserve to have me pronounce his name right. But yeah, poor Bianca. It's like, oh well, Bianca, I can't have you do that. So you're banned from ringside. We can't have anything disrupt Charlotte potentially winning her 15th championship. And you know what the like inane fucking thing is Bianca's still not going to get her one-on-one match because how much do you want to bet that Charlotte's going to be like crowbarred into that for a triple threat just like they
Oh
did to
no,
Becky?
dude, I 100%. That's the match that I expect at Money in the Bank is a triple threat. It's just a
And I
matter of how they get there to me.
and I'm just sitting here like, you really want me to just actively hate this, but I'm not turning on Bianca. I already tweeted that if you think I'm going to turn on Bianca when her reactions throughout the whole thing have been 1,000% justified, you're insane. You are certifiably insane to me. That's not happening. And so, yeah, you've got LA Knight on one hand that they're still treating him like a heel, and I'm like, okay, I get it because maybe like just an abrupt face turn would be a bit jarring, but what about after Money in the Bank? What about at Money in the Bank? Like, how are you going to treat this dude because the crowd likes him? I don't understand it. I don't agree with it personally. I feel like I need to shower because of it a little bit to get a little in the weeds with all of you here, but it's reality. Um, and Bianca, I just feel
Can
like
it
they're way off
stop being
base.
reality, please?
I wish it could because you deserve it to stop being reality, but WWE
See,
said
but
no,
like the way
bud.
you said that, the whole "I wish it could" thing, kind of implies that it can't.
And it can't, bud, because WWE, I think, is they're committed to this,
Fuck.
unfortunately. Yeah, I know. I know. I felt the same way too, bud. It's really, really awful, especially because like the heelish stuff that he's been doing has been at Santos and LWO's expense. And I'm just like, if I'm Santos, I'm too beautiful for this. Just one man's opinion, but I'm just like, why? Um, so yeah, it's frustrating because I just have a feeling that I'm not going to be satisfied with the men's Money in the Bank winner. Priest, I'd be cool with though. Priest, I would give that respectful nod. You know, when we lock eyes, I'd be like, sub. He'd be like, sup, and I'd be like, you earned this. And you know
Yeah.
that's that. Yeah,
I think
because
that's how most people feel about Priest. I think Priest is the option that pisses the fewest people off. Honestly, like he's that dude.
yeah,
And the people who
absolutely.
would be pissed off about Priest, it would be kayfabe, not like angry at the writing or decision.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, you're 1,000% on point with that. And I think Priest has earned that through the consistency of his work the last little bit. Um, I will say, because I do think that was this week, because I think Priest and I think Judgment Day, I I have enjoyed the aggression from Finn and in beating the hell out of
It was
Rollins.
this week, yeah.
Yeah, like I hope it doesn't like bury the coup de grace a little bit, because man, he spammed the hell out of that move, bro. God
And then
damn.
Rollins was able to make it to the show the following day and win
Yeah,
against Braun Breaker. That pissed me off.
yeah. Cause
He beat
like
Breaker clean despite the beatdowns.
I know, dude. And then Balor beats him down again, like after NXT, although Rollins does get help after that. And I forget who came out to help him. Um, but I know I think it was
Um,
Trick and Mello,
yeah,
right?
it was. It was Trick and Mellow. Yep.
Yeah, it was Trick and Mello. So that was, that was cool. Could even be a future matchup down the road, Mello versus Rollins. Um, and yeah, so that was weird because I love Braun, like and like anybody that's heard me like on Discord or even on here, like you guys know I'm all in on Braun Breaker. I wasn't necessarily a fan of that. I would have liked Dragunov even like a quick run in or a distraction on the apron, and then Rollins gets like the curb stomps. But the idea that it was just a competitive match and Rollins is just that tough. Like where it lost me, bro, if I'm being honest with you, especially again given that like I think it does retroactively insult the coup de grace when he kicked out a Braun spear. I'm like,
Mhm.
wow. So he hits the midsection, the area that's been like destroyed, and he kicks out. I'm like, oh, God. WWE, you are never really going to fully learn how to really get the most out of the pro wrestling that you put in front of us, and it's frustrating. But yeah, I guess solid match. Otherwise, it was whatever. But I'm liking Finn's share of the stuff, because again, this is another heel, and I will give WWE credit for this, except for Bianca, because
When
I'm
will
watching.
he ever find his verb?
Yeah, one day, friend, one day, and it will be glorious for us all. But I think Finn as a heel has a genuine axe to grind, and it's a compelling story. A guy that's had a bitterness that he's never really worked through and never really worked on, and been with and meditated on, and now he's looking at the guy that engendered all of that bitterness to begin with, prospering once again, and it's like how much can a guy take?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is definitely, it's a very simple story, but simple is good. especially when you've got guys of this quality. So I've got no problem with it. I just okay, well, actually, that's kind of a lie because I think the only problem I do have with it is just what we said. Like, Finn is such a consummate pro and he's so consistently good. I don't understand why he gets done so dirty with like booking like this. Oh, you're going to devastate him with your finisher, but he's still going to be strong enough. Like, if he can beat Braun after what Finn did, and I'm not even saying he shouldn't have beat Braun. Obviously, he should have. I was just hoping for help from Dragonov. Why should I believe that Finn's going to beat Seth at Money in the Bank?
Dude, truthfully,
You
I was just hoping that Finn would attack Rollins during the match so it would end in, Seth winning by DQ.
Yeah, and then Braun maybe even could get angry, and then that is something he could store in his pocket for when he goes up to the main roster, and you could have
Yeah,
made so much out of that.
that would be
But
cool.
no, let's not do that instead. Let's not do that.
Well, why would we? That would be, that would be, that would, efforts. Come on now.
ridiculous, right?
I
Um,
mean, you could even make an argument that it's ridiculous.
yes. Um, and so yeah, choices were made. Bit of a head scratcher.
Were they? Were they really?
That's fair. That's fair. Uh, yeah. So Finn is kind of being treated like a joke a little bit here. I don't like it. But then again, after Extreme Rules, when God intervened, if you're a Finn Balor fan, I think you've just been living on a prayer ever since.
True.
And it really sucks because Finn keeps himself in such phenomenal shape and his work rate at his age, because he is in his 40s now, I believe.
He
He's,
is. He's been there for a little bit now, hasn't he?
I think he
He's
has. Like, I wouldn't be,
41. He'll be
yeah,
42 in a month.
yeah, like, dude's insane in the best way. And like for all that effort, we're just like, hey Phineas, fuck you. And like that's a choice. That's a choice. So yeah. Anything else happen on Raw that was because really for me, well,
Oh man, I don't know. You
I
just
guess the
got me
KO
dying over here. Jesus Christ.
I guess just the KO storyline of like, Kevin, yeah, Sammy, you're a rageaholic. What? That is absurd. And, they're just doing the whole thing where it's like, I don't have an anger problem. Everyone just sucks. And, like, Kevin, thank you. Because I feel so seen. But yeah, he's going through the whole thing. And then,
Oh,
gotta be the adult in the room and groan, kids,
Matthew?
because, beg pardon?
Is this related to Riddle?
Actually, no, but good
Oh.
catch, friend, because I suppressed it. I'm so glad you were here.
Oh
Because, yeah,
no,
that
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. Um, 'Cause, he kind of upped the blood pressure of everyone in the room, and I mean both Kevin and the people watching Kevin that wanted to hug Kevin that could not hug Kevin. Foster, tentatively agree. Let's table that and talk about that later, though. So yeah, he's just like, that's not even a movie or a thing because Riddle was on something, and then Sammy came in and he was like, Kevin, did I sense a little bit of rage happening? And Kevin, suppressing the urge, definitely internally rubbing the temples counterclockwise, which is a whole skill that even I haven't mastered. He's like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. And then why I initially groaned before Ashton brought Riddle to my attention, which again, I had forgotten, and we should always be on top of things, so thank you. Cody.
Hmm.
Cody, who they're still trying to make happen, and who I begrudgingly say is happening. Had Tozawa come up and say, which I just want to remind everybody, Tozawa's a genuinely good worker. I feel bad for this dude because again, maybe he's enjoying it. Fair enough. That's really all that matters. I'm a peon. My opinion doesn't matter to Tozawa, nor should it.
I think your opinion matters, even if it doesn't matter to Chizawa.
That's, thank you. Likewise. Um, he's a good worker. I liked his PWG stuff. He's got a great intensity, a great fire in the ring. And they made him a caricature and definitely like a stereotyped gimmick, which it's a shame because if they would have treated him as more of a serious competitor, I'm going to be honest with you. I love Sammy and Kevin to death, but if they would have pulled the trigger on the Tozawa tag team, that would have brought me back to like the Attitude Era Ruthless Aggression era booking where you get that mid-carder in the main event spot and like they excel and the crowd goes crazy because maybe they even get the winning pin. I feel like Tozawa was robbed of that low key, you know? Like he can go, man. And it's just like I kind of hope next week they do the Tozawa Cody tag team because it's like, oh, no Kevin and Sammy this week. You want to prove yourself. Why don't you team with the guy that wanted to team with you last week, Tozawa? And then they do it thinking that they're going to laugh. And then Tozawa whoops Dominic's ass. That would get a huge pop to me. Tozawa kicking Dominic's ass, I think would be something that people would be like, yeah,
Literally anyone kicking Dominic's ass would get a big pop.
yeah, yeah.
You could bring back Reggie, and if you would get the better of Dominic, he'd get a huge pop.
Like, I understand with Tozawa's booking because I said, very first episode of TWitWoW, you are what you're booked. I've really grown to hate that saying over time because I hate how well it aged in the worst way. Because I get it. Tozawa's never been treated seriously,
Is
but
this
like,
what being Rage Against the Machine must feel like?
I know.
Like
Like,
they
I am
said all
so
this shit in the 90s, it still fucking applies in the 2020s. It's gross.
and then they're seeing conservatives be like, but I don't understand. I didn't know what the machine was. Didn't you though?
You guys were
Didn't you?
cool back then, and now you've sold out, even though you've literally changed nothing about yourselves at all.
How could you vote for Joe Biden even though you criticize the very establishment that he's a part of?
What the fuck was that?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Holy shit.
Look at yourself, improve your life, and if for no other reason, do it for me, because I'm more important than you. But anyway, that little truth bomb aside to the conservative base,
Wow.
I'm not wrong. I think Cody needs to learn that he's not the center of the universe. But much like a climate change denier, 99 scientists out of 100 could tell him that, and he would still say, no, let me listen to the 100. And then even when the 100 tells him that, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm greater than science, you're wrong. And
I'm
that's a
sorry,
shame.
who's the 100 here?
I have no idea. Well, the 100 scientists telling Cody that he's
Oh,
not the
the
center of the universe.
100th. Oh, I getcha.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a shame, you know. But yeah, so Tozawa got treated like a joke, which again, given booking history, not surprising or anything like that. I just wanted to make a note of I remember, and it's amazing when a wrestling fan can remember that a wrestler's good when they're under a mound of booking. Like I feel like Tozawa is at this stage of his career. And it's like, yeah, he is talented. Yeah, he can freaking go. And I will never forget that. I just wish he would have gotten this rub. But he's like, oh, well, thanks, Tozawa. I'll think about it. I'll converse with my neck tattoo that seemingly gets bigger every week and has probably attained sentience. And then Sammy and Kevin, and this kind of made me barf too a little bit because
If Cody would
Sammy and
get
Kevin
that
were like,
tattoo removed, you could say he's in remission.
yes. And Sammy and Kevin are like, oh, Cody, you helped us out so much in becoming friends again. And like, whenever you need anything, we're there. And I'm sorry. This is definitely a John problem, but I don't like the idea that Cody gets Kevin and Sammy services carte blanche. That makes
Yeah.
me deeply uncomfortable.
Same.
Like, you have such a rich and complex history of such emotional depth with two compelling characters, and you're gonna tell me freaking Cody was the focal point that brought that whole story to its crescendo, where you can achieve a dream that you both secretly shared, but were too scared to share publicly because of the other person. I no, 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 thank you. That doesn't no.
No.
No,
No.
no, no. Doesn't work for me, no.
Not
So,
for me. Not for me.
10 out of 10. Um, uh, but then Kevin, which I am enjoying what Kevin's doing right now, but he's like, I thought we were gonna punch people in the face. And then that Cody's like, oh, no, no, no. I didn't say yes to the jobber. Of course I'm gonna say yes to you two. So, like, I feel like everybody went down a peg in this, except for Cody, because of course.
Because he's already at rock bottom. How do you go below that?
That's so true. That's a great point.
Holy shit. What is going on with your voice tonight, bro?
I don't. We're just having a good time. So yeah,
Oh my god.
they they, they do the six-man tag, and you can corroborate with me that it happened, right?
I
That
wouldn't know. I don't think I watched it.
that's love that for you. It seemed like the baby faces got big pops whenever they went after
Well,
Little
that's
Dom
good.
Dom because
Is this
he
all still on Raw? Why is our Raw review
yes.
taking so long?
That's a great point. Let's press fast forward on it. So the baby faces win. I'm pretty sure Priest, actually, no, it was Priest that ate the pin, which is kind of sad, because he's been doing great work. But then,
Yeah,
yeah,
Cody pinned Priest.
yeah, of course he did. Um,
Speaking of
yeah,
weird pins, Bronson Reed in the last few weeks has pinned both Ricochet and Nakamura, who are both in Money in the Bank, but Bronson Reed isn't. How the fuck?
wow, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Tell me about it.
baby faces celebrate to go off the air for Raw. So let's switch to SmackDown very quickly because again, not really much to say here. Ronda and Shayna got more of the stones for the Infinity Gauntlet, by which I mean they've retired the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. They won't. Well, I shouldn't say they won't be missed. That might be a bit too acerbic for the mood. But I
Bro,
miss
you
them.
made the wrong Avengers reference. They Thanos snapped those bitches into dust.
Hey, you're right. That was my L. I apologize. Good recovery. And yeah, that happened. I think via double tap out.
But
So
yeah,
like
it was. It was. Rhonda had it was Kaylee Ray. What's her name? Alba Fire, right?
Alba Fire,
Yeah,
yeah.
Rhonda had Alba Fire in her little submission, and Shayna had Isla Dawn in a Kirifuda, and the tapping was happening.
It was. It was. They chose to tap so they wouldn't nap. But
Or
or snap.
snap.
Yes, yes. Like a Rice Krispie.
Rice Krispies snap? Oh my god, Snap Crackle Pop is their whole thing. That's right. Wow.
Don't know how much pop was happening with this outcome. But yeah, they won. But there was a bright spot momentarily because Liv is
Live!
back. And I only say
Yay!
momentarily because while she is legitimately excellent and I root for her in all things, WWE most assuredly does not. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing her take L's again because of WWE's booking. And no,
We should
that's not
add that she's back to team with Raquel.
I know we're already winning in record time. So that's happening at Money in the Bank. Oh, I feel like doing the Tobias dance. Yippee! It's happening. So that's happening at Money in the Bank. Stellar pay-per-view coming together. You can just feel it. My God, the girth is just legendary.
Bro, next
Uh,
week's SmackDown is like stacked as fuck because like Bailey versus Shotzi didn't happen on this SmackDown, so I'm guessing it happens on next week's SmackDown. Either that or they just dropped it.
And aren't Pretty Deadly challenging for the tag titles on SmackDown next
Yeah,
week?
they are, and there's something else going on next week too, but I forget. Oh wait, no, it's the Charlotte Asuka next week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Can I just say, when it comes to that tag title match, yes, boy, it's gonna be a fun
Wow,
time.
you put your back into
Um,
that one. I could tell. Good job.
yeah, I did. And yeah, Charlotte Asuka. Love you, Asuka. Rooting for you. Her mocking Lacey Evans salute was honestly iconic. If she would do it, she might be the only person that I would salute back because y'all know your boy John ain't no simp. At least not for political figures.
God, Lacey
Um,
Evans sucks.
she does. And you know what? I'm so proud of you for reminding her of that because she should never have the privilege of forgetting. Ever.
You know what
Um,
though? At the same time, as much as Lacey Evans sucks, I still think I like her more than I like Charlotte.
that's also fair because I think in the final analysis, I would agree. Um, yeah, then the bloodline did stuff. Gonna be honest, I understood what you meant when you were like mid promo. I will say, and maybe I'm just overanalyzing here because I'm way deep in the sauce because I've been loving this story. It seemed like for Jay's part of the promo, he really didn't even want to say the things he was saying. I felt a kind of hesitancy in Jay to even talk about Roman.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think that that was intended. I don't think that that was like a part of the delivery, like that was like an on purpose thing that was meant to play into the story. I think what happened there and the reason that the promo was so mid was I think this is the Usos getting an opportunity to cut a promo off the cuff without a script, and it just did not go well.
That's a shame because I always thought they did stuff off the cuff. Like if you would have asked me, do you feel like they're scripted? I would have said no. So if that is the case,
I'm
that's
pretty
very
sure that at the very least, back like in 2016, when they started doing their amazing heel promos where they were like finishing each other's sentences and stuff, they had those promos pre-planned. Like I don't know if they wrote them down. They probably did to get them approved, but like I'm pretty sure that they planned those promos in advance, and that's why they were so like boom, 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 like rehearsed sounding, because they probably were rehearsed to at least some degree.
Yeah.
Whereas this tonight was much slower until they got to the locked up and the Uso penitentiary stuff, which they've already done a million times anyway.
Yeah, you might be onto something, man. You really might. It's a shame too that it came from Jay because I've been very high on him lately, and like he's got to find that confidence, man, if he's going to be getting this big push. Because I really am thinking all roads lead to Jay Roman SummerSlam, and you've really got to step up in these moments. So I'm not going to be too hard on him because I love the Usos, and I feel like even this storyline's permitted to have a hiccup or two.
Yeah.
But you really got to get it together because this is the next phase. And this is just as important as any other phase. In fact, I would argue to a point, the most important, because now the bloodline is done. And you don't want people to miss what they've lost. So if you don't want people to miss what they've lost, you've got to give them something better in its place. And the better thing in my mind, if they wanted to get over, is main event Jey Uso. But he's got to show up for that, right? For that to work. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I really can't think of much else to talk about with SmackDown because I know that was like the main stuff. They do lay out Sikoa after he like brutalizes Sheamus, with the super kicks and stuff. I want to hear a promo from Roman before Money in the Bank, like about how he feels about all this. I wonder if he'll be on the show next week at all. I feel like they would have announced him if he would have been, and you didn't hear any announcement about him being on the show next week, right?
I did
So, okay. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Money in the Bank's going to be very interesting. You asked about preview predictions. I would only want to do it just so that we could have an extended conversation about this tag match.
Super Blue in chat was like, "You gotta give the people what they want."
Exactly. By the way, Foster, just to address your distress in the chat, I too feel sad that you share a planet with Lacey Evans. She doesn't deserve to share a planet with you.
Yeah,
at all.
I'm gonna double down on that. You're both so fucking right.
And if you say it, who the fuck else even matters? Holy shit.
Oh, that was really nice. Thank you.
So yeah. Oh, and Super Blue confirmed Roman will be on SmackDown next week. Good, because I think it does need him to give that final push. So with that, I think that's been the week in the world of wrestling canvassed enough.
Nice.
So let's open up the forum to questions, everybody. Anybody
Ask
that has
away,
questions,
folks.
Ask away. It's been a really chill night tonight. Good vibes, loving
Entirely
vibes.
because of you and your face.
It takes two, bud. Give yourself some credit.
No, I haven't been that chill. It's been all you.
You know what? That's appreciated. So yeah, guys, ask us your questions. We'll paint some happy little trees right here.
Happy
and
little
we'll
bees and happy little trees.
Indeed. So yeah, let's talk about it, guys. How did you feel about this week in the world of wrestling? What questions do you have for us? I know we're gonna get some questions, so we'll just give it a bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Foster said, "Wait, were there any other highlights of NXT for you, John?" Well, honestly, Foster, I didn't watch much of NXT beyond like Ali as referee, so I really can't even say. Ashton, actually, to field this over to you quickly, did you watch anything of NXT this week?
I had NXT up on my TV this week, yeah.
Okay. Did anything stand out to you that you would like to share?
We already talked about the Tyler Bate Wesley stuff with Ali as the referee. You know what? I do have one really unfortunate thing to share with the class, and I only say unfortunate because I know that Alex Foster is a big fan of the person that I'm about to say something bad about.
Okay, rip the Band-Aid off. Be delicate.
Thea Hale, who is like the main woman in Chase U, and she's actually the #1 contender for the women's championship right now.
Yeah.
Annoys the shit out of me constantly.
Is she like Because I think I've only
Nikki
seen very little of it.
Cross.
Oh, because I was gonna say like Anna Jay kind of energy, because you know how she gets like hopped up and is like, I'm gonna
No,
choke you out, I'm gonna
like
choke you out.
Nikki Cross, way too much energy, like that kind of annoying.
Interesting, interesting. I haven't watched enough of her to make a judgment myself. I've only seen like very little. Um, and yeah, yeah. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm gonna have to watch more and see how I feel about it. Foster also said that on this NXT we got Von Wagner's backstory. I think I did see a clip
I
about that,
did
like
not
not
see
watched
that.
it.
I did not see that.
I want to make clear that when I say I saw it, I was like aware of it. I didn't actually consume it.
Ah,
So that's that's a thing. Paul asking, when does Roman Reigns turn babyface? I would say 6 months after Mania 40. That I know that's a really weird number, but that's what I'm gonna go with because I think you need a birth between him losing everything and then him pivoting.
I was gonna just say I wasn't gonna put an exact number on it, but we're on the same page because I was gonna say like relatively soon after dropping the titles and losing everything.
I need to make this known, even though it's obvious. I love being in the same book as you. It's beautiful. So
Nice.
that's nice. That's nice. Super Blue, I'm just going to say that I don't really feel comfortable given the context of the show to answer that question. If you do want to make that though a Q&A question, please feel free because we've got Q&A next Thursday.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's right. There was this one thing that I told you about already, John, where Eddie Thorpe, formerly known as Carl Fredericks, was in the locker room, and Gable Steveson showed up to basically offer to help him to beat his brother Damon Kemp. So that's a thing.
yes, yes, that I feel like that should be a bigger deal than what it seemingly was treated even online because I didn't even
Yeah.
see that trend to be
No, it
honest.
didn't.
And that's kind of concerning for Steveson, isn't it? Like,
Probably yes. Probably
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. Maybe it's what he needed. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, Super Blue, that's a legitimate question and actually a good question that I'd love to talk about. I just feel like that's more appropriate in a forum like Q&A. I really do want to keep the integrity of the show, keeping things to this week in the world of wrestling. So, Super Blue asked, do you think Rampage is starting to get better now? I don't feel qualified to ask that because I don't watch Rampage bell to bell. Do you have any opinions to offer about that, Ashton?
Oh, what was the question? I was reading comments. What?
Oh no, that's okay. Super Blue asked as like a follow up. Do you think Rampage is starting to get better now?
Hell no. Rampage is not getting better.
Fair enough.
Last week's Rampage was pretty good, but not this week's.
Okay.
Dude, this
Okay.
week's Rampage was main evented by Jungle Boy versus Doki.
Oof.
I'm saying.
Wow.
Your
Any other
reaction to
questions?
that was so fucking perfect. I can't even.
I feel like you can't even handle my energy right now, and that's okay. Uh,
You're just being the perfect straight man right now, and I'm not used to that because I'm usually the straight man.
yeah, it's like, no, Ashton, I can take care of us both. I can do this. And you're like, okay, I believe in you. And then it's like, it's actually happening. And it's like, wow, that's pretty great. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? What's up? Let's talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Foster said Kemp is already better than his brother. We know you've been of that opinion for a while, Foster, and to be honest, you're probably right. I don't even really feel like any
I think
pushback
it's
against you.
weird to say that though, because like Gable hasn't done anything, so how can we know for sure? It's just like you're saying that one is greater than zero. It's like, yeah, obviously, but what if the zero turns out to be a two, actually?
Oh my god, to jump the line that hard? Wow.
Stop.
I apologize. Super Blue, did you check out Impact this week? No,
I
friend.
had it on my TV.
How was it?
I have so much wrestling on my TV, and I watch maybe like 15% of it.
You know what, man? That's still 14% more than what I watch. You're so talented. That's great. I'm so glad somebody here actually knows what the podcast is about and like does the homework. That's
I really
great.
don't though. Wait, why was Taya Valkyrie on Impact this week? What the fuck? See, that I don't remember seeing necessarily. Apparently, Taya Valkyrie faced Allison Kay on Impact this week. I don't know why that was the case.
Wow, that's pretty weird.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and say no. I don't have anything to say about Impact.
Okay. Foster retorted, Kemp's trash talk. That's how. Man, okay. I'll have to put an ear to some of that. Any
Yeah.
other questions, guys? Contemplate those questions while you sip some more milk in some footy pajamas. But then again, it's
Oh.
summer. That might be a bit too humid. Ooh.
Not if you're in an air-conditioned house.
Oh my god, what a counterpoint. Way to keep it alive.
That's like peak cozy to me. Is like nice cold air-conditioned house, but like super comfy cozy clothing. Like big nice t-shirt, big comfy t-shirt, sweatpants, blanket, slippers. Like yeah, that's my shit right there.
I artificially created winter. Suck it, everyone else. Foster, I just have to ask, just because my own ego is kind of a little peckish. Do you love that about him? That it reminds you of my face? And while you're answering that, let's look at Paul. If I ever catch one of these, I'll try and have a question ready for you guys. Paul, I'm just grateful that you exist, honestly. You're beautiful.
We
Super
miss
Blue.
interacting with you, Paul.
We really do, Paul. I want you to know that you're loved here, like, a lot. So, hope that didn't come on too strong. Apologize if it did. Just wanted to be honest with my feelings. So, Super Blue, what do the wrestlers have? I think he's asking have to do to get over and stop Logan Paul from getting spots like Money in the Bank.
There's
Um,
nothing they can do.
yeah, it is pretty
That
powerless.
burden does not fall on the wrestlers. It's not something that the wrestlers have any control over whatsoever.
Yeah, Super Blue, for me, Paul just said, "Come as strong as you like, guys." Paul,
Oh,
threatening me with a good time, you scamp. Yeah, Super Blue, for me, I've always felt like the answer is believing in your own talent, but then upping the ever-loving shit out of the ageism. Because if you do that, you get the problem out of the way. And I think that's great. But that's not happening because the old person is also rich. So you can see the conflict of interest between classism and ageism, and it's capitalism, baby. Classism's gonna win out. So yeah. Any other questions from you guys? We've got two people now. I feel like I might even be lulling people to sleep with my daddy time, sleepy time voice. So
daddy
yeah,
time, sleepy time. Whoa.
that's a lot of time. A lot of sexy time.
Ooh, daddy time, sleepy time, sexy time now.
So much is happening. So, any other questions, guys? Let's get it all out there.
Man, I don't even know what to say right now.
You existing is enough.
It's just so peaceful here now. Paul wished
Paul
us a good
said,
night.
Paul was just a good night. And honestly, I think that's our cue to go to our final segment. High spots and low shots. So
I'm sorry.
really,
What the fuck is going on right now?
I really feel like there were. Oh, wait. Super Blue, we're going to count this as the last question because respectfully, my voice entered the room. And I just, you know where I'm going with it. So Super Blue said, who could Logan face if he doesn't win Money in the Bank at SummerSlam? Probably
So,
LA
like,
Knight, honestly.
who could Logan face at SummerSlam if he doesn't win Money in the Bank? Well, no, I don't. No, why would he face LA Knight? I mean, who's a who's in maybe Ricochet.
I like that answer. If I could just retort, because you did ask why.
You're allowed.
Thank you. I feel like LA Knight won because he is getting the pops, and I feel like WWE wants to do something, but they don't know what to do. And LA Knight went after Logan Paul first when he came out. So I'm thinking like Logan Paul will remember that. It's kind of like those Telltale games. Logan Paul will remember this, but none of us really give a shit. And, he's going to circle it back and it's going to be a thing. And are we going to watch it? No. But is it going to happen? Mhm. I wasn't going to say yeah because that thing's at LA Knight. And to be honest, I don't think he deserves it
He doesn't
personally.
deserve a whole ass word either.
You know, language is a bit too opulent for him, I think. I agree. So now let us move on. And Foster, as he usually does, made a point that was not only strong, I'm gonna be honest, since this is a safe space, everybody's feeling cozy. That was sexy, Foster, that point you just made. Again, if I'm coming on too strong, we can work it out.
The Bad Bunny
But that
point?
was what was that now?
He mentioned Bad Bunny. Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if Bad Bunny punked him out as the bigger celebrity. I think
Nice.
Logan Paul needs to be humbled. Really, what Logan Paul needs, at the risk of getting a little too weird, is he needs a stern father. And I think Bad Bunny can be that father for Logan Paul and just beat that ass. And I think that'd be great. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna do the intro of the title again. We know. We know what the next segment is. So
So are we not even gonna? Did you? I'm assuming that means that you didn't do any kind of extracurricular then.
Oh, that's a great point. Um, I really don't think I did, man.
Okay.
Maybe I watched some old SmackDown clips, but I couldn't even tell you what I watched. Did you do any extracurricular this week?
No, I did not.
Okay, but you know what? I'm still glad you remembered because we need to keep each other consistent, and I totally forwent that segment, and so I appreciate you keeping us in order. So now, again, high spots, low shots. So I feel like a lot of people tried this week. Trying doesn't matter though, because a lot of people also had bad weeks. So given that, I'm gonna say that my low shot, you know what? I'm gonna take the low hanging fruit because who doesn't say, who says that it's not sweet? I will go with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire because
Oh.
not only did they lose their titles, they've been Thanos per your app description. They're gone now, and you will forever be known as the people that lost them to the sands of time. Have fun with that on your conscience. Super happy not to be you. Who's your low shot this week?
Um. Hmm. Hmm. Trying to think of what show I even want my low shot to be from. Honestly, I could go with Raw. Mm, man, this is tough. Probably should have thought about this before it was my turn so that I didn't hold us up here.
It's okay. You've been having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Actually, you know what? I have a. Fuck. No, I don't. Damn it. I almost did. I don't, though. I was going to say Raquel because she got screwed out of a Money in the Bank qualifier on Monday, but then she immediately on Friday got put into a tag title match with Liv coming back. So it was not that horrible of a week for her after all.
True, true. She definitely bounced back.
Oh, you know what? Actually, let me see if I can find a trend here. There's one, two. Um, who all is in the men's Money in the Bank? I know it's Nakamura, Ricochet, Damian Priest, LA Knight. Who else is in it?
Uh,
Knight, Priest. No, I'm
night,
not counting Logan Paul. I know Logan Paul's the seventh man. Who were the original six?
night.
Ricochet, Nakamura, LA Knight, Damian Priest. Who were the other two?
Um. Okay, so Knight,
Santos and
Santos. Okay, so Knight, Priest, Santos, Nakamura, Ricochet. Who was the sixth guy? Huh. Wow, oh, Butch. Butch.
that explains why we couldn't think of it. Yeah, okay. God. Okay. Well, it seems like it's kind of a theme that if you're in Money in the Bank, you probably are losing on TV because Nakamura and Ricochet have both lost to Bronson Reed in the last couple weeks. Damian Priest just got pinned by Cody Rhodes on the main event of Raw.
Yes.
Oh, LA Knight did beat Rey Mysterio though, so it doesn't apply to all of them. That's interesting. Hmm. Um, it's tempting to make a low shot out of the fact that Bailey versus Shotzi didn't happen, but I don't really want to. You know what? Actually, I have the perfect answer. My low shot's the Brawling Brutes.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one. That's
Because
a good one.
Ridge got thumbed to the throat and he sold it like absolute death. Like literally RVD just frog splashed his trach out of existence. And Sheamus tried to stand up for him and tried to be like, I'm going to be a badass and get revenge for my friend. And fucking lost to Solo in the main event of SmackDown.
That's tough, man. That's
So
a
yeah,
great pick.
Brawling Brutes is my low shot.
Hell yeah. All right. High spot. Here we go. It's happening. Uh I'm going to apologize to you in advance if I seem to hem and haw a lot thinking of a high spot. I
I mean,
apologize
bro,
because
did you experience what I just went through?
yeah, but you're worthy of support. It's okay.
Implying you
Um,
aren't?
fair retort. Notice the tone was a bit stern there. Point taken.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, who to be a high spot? You know what? It's weak as hell. I can admit that. But I'm gonna go with Asuka. She
Oh,
got the jump on Charlotte, and you know what's great about Asuka, face or heel? She has an
everything?
intuitive.
Oh.
First of all, let's just pause because you're correct, and that just needs to be acknowledged, like Roman Reigns. But more so, and I think it's more impressive because she is a Japanese woman, and you think like she wouldn't be that dialed in when you think like Americans should be all over this. She understands the culture we live in, that it's a social media culture. It's a culture of like be memeable, be gifable. And like her doing mocking the Lacey Evans salute, dude, I saw so many gifs of that. And like she gets it. Charlotte, I think, in a way, also gets it, and I hate to give her that credit because she did the Tranquilo pose this week, and she knew that that would like proliferate on the
Yeah,
internet.
she's over here on SmackDown doing the Tranquilo pose, and Andrade is over here on Collision using the figure eight to win matches.
It's like we get it.
Oh
You
yeah, dude,
have
I never told you the finish of that match. He was trying to do the figure eight with despite a bum shoulder, and fucking Buddy Matthews comes in and beats the shit out of him and gets Brody King disqualified. So Andrade is now 2-0 against House of Black, one via submission, one via disqualification.
did Brody take umbrage with that? Because I
No,
would.
Brody just fucking lariated his head off then.
Wow. Okay then. But yeah, Charlotte and especially Andrade, and I say this to you, Andrade, more with care. We get it. You have relations. I just don't think you need to make us know it like, with like, oh, look at me doing my wife, thing. It's like, relax.
Something
So
you've
yeah,
done exceptionally well tonight, if I must say.
I am so appreciative of that right now. Thank you. But yeah, Asuka understands like it's about the moments. We all collectively have the attention span of a goldfish because of what social media has done to us. And Asuka meets us where we're at. And if that's not my women's champion, I don't know who is. So yeah, I'm gonna give her the high spot. Who's your high
That's
spot, friend?
beautiful.
You're
Uh,
beautiful. Who's your high spot?
Aw, thanks.
What do we got going on your side of things?
I actually had it. Oh, right, yeah, no. So as unfortunate and upsetting, I guess, as this is, My high spot is going to be LA Knight because even though a lot of the guys that are in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match have been losing lately, as I just mentioned, he beat Rey Mysterio this week, and that's a big fucking deal.
I am so proud of you in this moment that you didn't let your pride get in the way of this business.
Thanks, Mark
That was
Henry. Appreciate it.
that that's great. I mean, I wish it wasn't him, and I know you do too, but that makes what you did all the more impressive.
Yeah.
Okay,
And he is
so with
getting pops. Like, he even got cheered against Ray, and it's Ray.
dude, I that's what I'm saying, man, because it's like, what are you doing? Is he gonna remain heel? Are you gonna make him babyface? Is there even a plop in the toilet that you're sitting on right now, or could you have gotten off the pot 10 minutes ago? I don't know. We'll all figure it out. But I
Plop or
guess
get off the pot.
indeed. But with that said, everyone, I would like to call this episode of This Week in Review as adjourned. So I want to thank you all for joining us. Please leave a like as you file out. We'd really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. It can be a bit insensitive sometimes. I've seen it. Subscribe, click the bell icon because we prefer you here as opposed to not here. And the best way to do that is when you get those notifications so we can all congregate like this in love, respect, and enjoyment, which is the TwitWoW way. Do check out everything we're involved in the description box because I'd like to think we're doing some pretty great stuff. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because I'd like to think we're the best wrestling podcast in the IWC. I mean, who else is doing this? I ask you, truly. And, we'll see you again, maybe Monday for some stardom, hopefully. We'll see. It's touch and go. If you're a member of the Discord, it's $3. You can check out what we offer in our Patreon below. We do game nights. We'll be doing game night during Raw, 8 to 11. And sometimes there are no games, but there's always chill. So come, vibe,
God, I
be
wish it was
yourself.
more chill sometimes, I swear.
I know. Imagine if it was like my
This.
voice
Oh.
all the time.
Oh.
Like,
If our Monday and Friday nights were like this every time, it would be my highlight of the week, I swear to God.
absolutely. And guys, when you've done all of that, I want to ask you that you take time to be good to yourselves, connect with yourselves, connect with somebody else. I know there's a lot going on right now, and there may be things going on with you that you don't feel comfortable sharing or you feel like you're carrying alone. And I want to tell you that that's okay. I want to tell you that you're beautiful, and I'm happy that you listen to us, and I'm grateful that you listen to us. And I hope you keep listening to us, and I hope whatever we do here helps you get through whatever you might be going through. I wanted to leave you with that. So I hope that this was a chill experience for you all, because I know wrestling can make us all way too crazy than it needs to be. It is television, like anything else. Let's appreciate the art, and anything we don't like, let's check at the door because we're better than that. And you're better than that. And I want you to remember that. So until we meet again, my friends, be good to yourself. Be good to the people around you because we can always make that choice. And I hope you choose us again when you tune in and you hopefully are able to peace out.